Hi there, this is Jen, and thanks for stopping by. I am creating a few cards using several different stencil techniques. Stencils are one of those things that are fairly inexpensive, and you can do so much with them. So I wanted to show just a few ways. There are many ways and products you can use with stencils, but I'm just going to show you a few ways that I use them today. So I am using a piece of craft plastic, which is similar to a Yupo paper, and I'm taking some dye inks in kind of a pink and a purple, and I'm using my ink blending brushes to blend that out. This paper, since it's not porous, is really smooth blending. And so after I do that, I'm going to take my water bottle and spritz the paper, and then I'm going to take the stencil and just set it on top and press down, and then take a paper towel and try and blot up a little bit of that water through the stencil. Now this doesn't leave a super sharp impression of the stencil, but I think it gives it a cool effect with the little bubbles in the background. And then you can blot the water up, but I'm going to use my heat tool. You just have to be careful because it is a plastic, not to leave the heat on the plastic too long. And then I am using a pierced and stitched circle die set where I just cut a ring out, and then I'm using some leftover pieces from a previous project. This is a Beaucoup Bouquet stamp set. And then I added the sentiment from the bold statements that says, always believe in yourself, you are amazing. And that was heat embossed on the card. I added a few sequins, and that will finish off the first card. And if you want a better impression, probably if you use a porous paper, the ink will sink into the paper a little bit more and leave a better impression than the craft plastic does, but that's just an option. And the next technique I'm going to share is dry embossing. And this is another way you can stretch your supplies. So actually this card is going to have two different techniques, but I'm going to start out with some dry embossing. So I'm taking my platform, and you just have to look at the platform that you use to determine how to set it up. I am just using the base, so there's no extra folders. So when you buy, for my Big Shot, I have this extra piece that I usually use with just regular die cutting, but I'm going to remove that, and I'm just going to use the plate or the one surface. And I'm going to use my magic mat. The magic mat takes place of one of the cutting plates. So if you don't have a magic mat or something like that, you would just use a cutting plate. Then I'm going to put my piece of rubber down. And then I'm going to take the stencil, which is the brick pattern stencil. I'm going to place my stencil on top of a piece of paper. And I'm also going to use a shim just to make sure I get a decent impression. And so when I pull up all these layers, I'm going to have this really cool brick pattern in the background that I have dry embossed. And then for this card, just to bring out that brick pattern a little bit more, I'm taking some Distress ink and blending that over the top. And then for the assembly of this card, I use the pierced and stitched circle die set again. And then I am using a giraffe from the Giraffes Peking set. And then the second technique I'm going to do is something that we've probably all done with stencils, and that is just applying a paste through the stencil onto a piece of cardstock. This is Lustre Polish. It's really a beautiful polish. It's got a little bit of a sheen to it. And so I am just applying that through the stencil. And since I am impatient, I am going to use my heat tool to dry this. Most of the paste and stuff that you put down are going to bubble up if you use the heat tool, and I don't mind that. I actually kind of like that look, and so if you don't like that, you can just let it air dry, but I did not want to wait, and so I went ahead and I took my heat tool and dried that, and it did bubble up a little bit, but I think it looks pretty cool. And then to assemble this card, I use again the Peking Giraffe. I popped up that circle frame that he's peeking out through, and then I used the smile die as well. And then to finish off the card, I used a few black enamel dots, and I really love this giraffe set. He's so cute. So for the last technique, I am taking the Starry Night stencil, and I am using some really dark blue ink, dye ink, and I am just applying that to the back of the stencil where I am going to press that against my paper. And then I'm taking a water bottle and I have spritzed that. And again, this is going to be another one that's going to just leave not much of an impression. It kind of just leaves it's not a grungy look, it's just kind of more of a mixed media look, I guess, which I absolutely love. And then I'm going to go back and clean the stencil off and apply that to my paper again. And then I'm going to take that same ink and ink blend using the same color, and so that will allow some of the stars to show through. I don't end up using this entire panel. I cut a portion of it out. So there you can see some of the ink blended stars in the background. And for this card, I went ahead and I used the Happy die along with another sentiment from the Bold Statement set. I added it to a blue background and added a little bit of twine at the top, and here are the rest of the cards. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stencils are one of those products that you get a lot of bang for the buck. They are fairly inexpensive, so it's one of my favorite products in my craft room. And to check out all of the products that I used today, go ahead and click on the description below. Please subscribe to the Whimsy channel, and you can always find inspiration on the Whimsy blog and a Facebook group. So links for that will be below as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did like it or find it informative, please go ahead and give a thumbs up. As always, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to spend with us, and I hope to catch you next time.